Yeah, and it's kind of strange too, because what the third element that's come up with this is that, you know, it really depends on us being, having the diligence and the vigilance to actually keep on our toes all the time. We have to be constantly vigilant about how we do this. And I think that's the biggest challenge that makes all these, the bigger surface, the more threats, we can never, ever rest. We have to always be on. We always have to be thinking security.
Yep.
And I would argue that usually in the biggest part of the errors that we see, the threats and compromises comes from a user making a mistake. Human error, right?
Yep. Yeah. And it's not just, we hear about the phishing campaigns, right? And end users clicking, right? That continues to be the biggest entry point, right?
Yeah.
And we see companies taking security more seriously. We're going to talk about insurance in a bit, in a little bit, but when we started, people were using cyber insurance as their biggest defense, but we're seeing more and more people take what we call defensive actions against cyber and implement things like two-factor authentication. But the human element is always there, right? It's always the weakest link. And unfortunately, traditionally, the human is the weakest link. As much as we like to think we're really smart and we don't make mistakes, right? I mean, look at the Uber breach that occurred, right? They had a contractor that had some decent access. Company had two-factor authentication in place.
Doing all the right things.
Yeah, they did all the right things. His device got his workstation got compromised. They were able to grab his credentials, and you normally say, hey, no big deal because he's got 2FA. Well, they basically wore him down with 2FA requests, right? We all have our phone now and these requests pop up, and eventually he just happened to hit okay. And it was really a bad actor getting him to approve a login request, and boom, they're in, right? Wow. So, we try to put the best defenses in, but ultimately the human steps in.
I think we use this, the analogy stuff here. I mean, in the past, it was like driving down a rural road with not a lot of traffic. You didn't have a lot to worry about, but now we're in rush hour traffic, cars zooming in and out. You got to constantly be vigilant. And I think that what we're seeing is that it's not just vigilant in us making sure that we're not doing the right things, but we have to, be vigilant in being able to make the investments in our organization in the right areas to help us be able to improve that security posture to begin with. And